But this is a game for 1 to 4 players and takes about 120 to 240 minutes to play. And there is quite a lot of variability in this game because at the start of the game, you're going to be choosing a ship and a captain, each of them granting you some different skills and abilities, which you can also augment with different gear throughout the game. You're also going to be starting with some starting resources and some starting jobs. But what is really cool here is that your end game objective will change from game to game because you're going to be also choosing a story card at the start of the game, which is going to dictate your goals and your win condition. Each round, players are going to be taking turns performing just 2 actions, and you can't perform the same action twice, so you always have to choose 2 different actions, but those actions can include just moving 1 space safely, or instead you could choose to move further by spending a fuel card. The interesting thing about moving this way is that you can move as many spaces as your ship is able, but for each space that you move into, you're going to be drawing a card from one of 2 decks. These decks can have a bunch of empty space cards that don't do anything, but they're going to also be all sorts of different cards that can cause negative events or negative effects that you're going to have to deal with. But players can also use an action to purchase new gear, crew, or resources, and the options that you'll have available to you do depend on the location that you are currently visiting. And of course, you'll be using all this to complete your various jobs, and like I said, you do start with a starting job, but you can also use an action to gain new job cards into your supply, and the options that you'll have available for the different jobs do also vary depending on your location. Different jobs will have players completing different pickup and deliver objectives, as well as possibly completing different skill checks. Players are going to be assigning different crew members with those different skills to try and heighten their success. And completing a job can grant you money as well as permanent special abilities, which can make other jobs in the future easier to accomplish. These jobs can also fall into 2 different categories of being either legal or illegal jobs, and the crew that you assign to them will become disgruntled if their alignment does not match with the morality of those jobs. You do also have to pay your crew for each of the jobs that they complete, and if you are unable to pay them, then that's another thing that can cause them to become more disgruntled. And the more disgruntled your crew members become, the more problems that they can cause in the future. And the collector's edition of this game is going to include everything ever offered for the Firefly game, so that includes all promos and previously released expansions. And it's also going to be adding a new expansion, which is the Still Flying expansion, which is going to be adding new ships and cards to the game. And of course, if you are interested in this one, you can check it out. I have links in the description below.